All right, car confessions today. We are on episode 9, I think. Today we are going to talk about communication. I'm Jen. I talk about my life experience before, during, and after my bipolar diagnosis. So, as I said before, my husband has been, with me from the beginning. Once we started dating and we knew I was diagnosed with this, I had to tell him hey, take some time. I want you to really think about whether this is something that fits in your life. It's not curable, so, it's not going to be an easy road. And he did that. He took some time, and then he decided, no, let's continue dating, and go from there. So, you might think that's actually a good thing that he was there from the beginning, but it's actually challenging. The reason why it's challenging is because someone who actually lives inside your house is not truly an outsider. They go through the depression like you do. They go through the hypomania like you do. And so, yes, they can kind of see the signs and help you see the signs of where you are. But they can't truly be 100% an outsider looking in. So what has happened is over the years, I have learned how to manage my symptoms better and better and better. And so, here's the gap between 1 and 10. And, I'm at a 4 right now, and then he's at a 200. So he doesn't really see where I'm at in my diagnosis. And he doesn't 100% have faith that, that I'm doing okay. So like if I'm alone, he's nervous. Even though I've got my Apple Watch on, I've got my location on, it still is going to create some anxiety for him. So communicating with him is a lot tougher. So what would happen is, I'm going to share a personal story. I'm thinking of whether I want to share the personal story. So what would happen is, in the past, I would have a hard time communicating what in our relationship needed improvement. So what would happen is I would tell my best friend everything that I need to change in order to, progress our relationship, our marriage, but I wouldn't tell him during that time. And that's when I was stable, that I would tell her that. But what happens is when you're hypomanic, you're losing your inhibitions. So you're kind of like, that's when I would have the balls to say something. That's when I would be like, this is, not working. And the communication thing is the biggest hurdle that I need us to get over. The problem is, because I always said that in the hypomanic stage, he would always come back to, but we don't bicker, and, there's not these problems when you're stable, these problems only come up when you're manic. And so, he would compartmentalize those, me when I'm manic and then me when I'm stable. And so it was hard to get past that roadblock because he just wasn't acknowledging it. And I will, admit that we are both super relaxed people. We don't like to bicker. We don't, for myself, if we get to a point where we're arguing and I don't think it's going to be productive anymore, it's just going to be, we're going to start like hitting below the belt. Then I'll leave. I'll just straight up leave the house. And some people will say that's immature, but it's really not. That's to give him time to calm down and to digest what we're both saying. So he can digest it, I can digest it. And then once he's, we're here, we're even kill, then I will come back and we can finish that conversation. So communication is tough. Once we did hit that roadblock and I couldn't get past it, we decided to separate. So we put the house up for sale. He was living with friends. His mom was trying to help, get us back on the same page, but it was just too hard. if that house sold, I don't know where we'd be at right now. What also helped, or what, excuse me, what we also went through during that time is my baby sister ended up having a autoimmune disease that narrowed her heart valves, and she needed major surgery because of her mitral valve, the main valve to the heart, needed to be repaired. I don't know if it was repaired or replaced, but during this time frame, he would just go to the hospital and talk to my family. He would just be there for them. The day of the surgery, we're kind of like running around and sitting down, and we didn't know what to do with ourselves. He went out and got frozen yogurt. It was like, I didn't get it for you. Okay. Because so many people love strawberry tart and Oreos. You got it for me. So that is kind of what brought us together, is, dealing with this major thing that was in my life. Not to mention, prior to this happening, we had a huge distrust in doctors because of my stepmom getting sick with blood cancer. We didn't feel like we asked enough questions. We kind of just blindly, followed this doctor and, go with his recommendations. And one of the nurses in the hospital was like, this shouldn't have happened. This shouldn't have happened. This shouldn't have happened. To the point that finally my dad was like, listen, none of this is going to bring her back. None of it. She loved all her nurses, but we don't want you to get fired for digging it up, for researching it. And so, that was a big thing. But having that distrust with doctors and then going into this major surgery for my younger sister was just hard. Thankfully, my stepmom's little sister ended up being a pediatrician, and she went to school with some people who were at Rady's Children's Hospital. And so she was able to make sure that, we had the best of the best. And she was able to ask those detailed questions that we, weren't able to, being not in the field. So that gave us a lot of, peace of mind of knowing that she is being taken care of. But they read her rights. They, made her first communion. They did that for her. This was huge. This was a huge struggle that I had in my life. But we were this close, from not being together. And I think just some little angels above were like, not today. You guys are gonna stay together. And we were able to go ahead and get past that communication barrier. So communication is tough, even if it's your husband, if it's your aunt, if it's your mom, if it's your sister, that can actually fit the bill for any of them. Anytime you're dealing with anyone who is super close to you, or you have a relationship where it's an unconditional type of relationship, that can be difficult to communicate with them. So just wanted to make a car confession today, a little video, our first one. Love you guys. Have a great day. Bye.